Hey, what's up? This is consistency part two. I want to make this short and sweet because there's not really much to say, but sharing my experience. But either way, it is what it is. So let me tell you about consistency and why it matters. Now, um, I'm going to tell you how I see opportunity and consistency and why you should too. When you stay consistent, you build self-esteem. When you stay consistent, you become more reliable to yourself. When you stay consistent, you start trusting yourself more when it comes to things that you think you can do, and you start believing yourself more. Because the more you stay true to yourself, the more you are able to make great decisions for yourself in the long term. And for example, when you don't stay consistent or make that decision or go with your gut feeling, what happens is when you don't follow your gut, you start questioning why you didn't. Like the back of your mind starts doing that. So anyways, long story short, consistency builds like that gut feeling, trusting yourself, because when you're successful over and over and over, you carry that belief over and over and over. And this isn't like success like we think about success, but accomplishing one task at a time is it's gratifying. So anyways, I'm supposed to be working right now. I just wanted to make this one because I feel like I need to tell myself this and tell others. But consistency can not only build self-esteem, but in the grand scheme of things, I'll tell you right now, I'm not the kind of person that takes like massive action. I build, I like to build my habit routine slowly, and that's just what I do. It's best for me, because I feel like when I go too hard, too fast, and I keep pushing really, really hard, I get traumatized. I'm using a figurative speech. But I get traumatized. Like when you go to the gym and you work out too hard, you don't want to go back, because the next time you go back, you're like, I don't want to, la 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 la. But when you like manage that comfort zone, 10% out, the more you can, next time your comfort zone is a little bit more out, 10% more or 1% more, say 1%. But managing that comfort zone, you slowly expand. And I believe that slow expansion is the best expansion. I don't think going balls to the wall really makes a difference. I don't think it does. And because your nervous system, you want your nervous system to react to situations. Like when it comes to tension, or expansion, when you are in tension, that's when your nervous system is reacting. And the more you can be comfortable in tension, the more you can keep building a higher threshold of being in tension. And when you're in tension, that's when all the best things happen. With a girl, when it comes to, think about when you ask a girl out or you ask a guy out, there's tension there. And then being comfortable with dating, those are all tension activities. The longer you can stay in those tension activities, the more your brain expands and expands, and it expands slowly. But they say that like when you go too far. And I just seen this. I seen this in a YouTube video, and it captured it perfectly. That when you go crazy, like balls to the wall, you're not actually learning. You just have an adrenaline rush. So your nervous system doesn't like react or grow. Like your nervous system doesn't get used to the tension. You're just reacting from adrenaline. So it's just kind of interesting, you know. So, anyways, what I'm talking about is consistency over time and increasing the tension over time. And the more you increase that, you know, let's say you do 10 calls today, do 12 the next day, do 14 the next day, do 16 the next day, do 20 the next day. You keep building that tension and building rather than just going straight to 150. You're able to master 5, then master 10, then master 15, then master 20. And you know, your nervous system slowly builds to being able to do as much as you can. And you know, I believe you know, that I believe that's the best way to go about it. But you know, there's other people that I'm sure what's his name, Grant Cardone, he says, you know, just go as hard as you can every single day and show up, which I understand, but I don't think that works for the long haul. I think that works for certain people. But if you want to build somebody up that let's say they're not addicted to that tension, you know, there's people that aren't, they don't like tension, right? But you can get used to something. You can practice something enough and get used to it. So, you know, my thing is just make it manageable, make your growth steps manageable, and and um and you know, build your self-esteem from these activities, and over time, and before you know it, you're going to be at a place where it's like, you know, um it feels amazing. And anyways, long story short, guys, what I want to say is I had went from I literally did the same thing every day for 3 months, no matter what, no matter who, what was going on, how successful, how much these successful people were, how much money they were making, how much my friends were making, how much my mom thinks I should be making, how much they think I should be making. I was consistent, and I did one thing every single day for 3 months. And I just put the noise aside, and I said, this is what I'm going to do every single day. And I did. And it was a manageable thing. And it's grown now. Now I do like double what I do that I started. And it's manageable. So I just want to say there's such a big importance on just being consistent on just simple habits that build up over time and build momentum. And it's just it's amazing, honestly. It's just it's indescribable the way that such a little habit can build momentum so quickly if you just do it. But the hard part is just doing it. It's like minuscule tasks. Going to the gym 1 hour a day, whatever, is so minimal, but your brain can, there's so many ways where your brain can get tired of doing the same thing every single day. So you got to be creative while you do it to stay interested. But what I'm saying is there's like a certain discipline that you create. Like you truly become, it's like practicing martial arts. There's all these things going on in your head. You know, I'm mad at my girlfriend. I'm mad at my husband. I wish I didn't eat that pizza last night. I wish la 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 la, all that crap. You know, whatever the fuck is going on. But like putting the noise out, letting the noise go. Interesting. Who's this? Um, um, but practicing letting the noise go and and practicing your art, practicing your martial arts, practicing your habits, letting all that noise go and saying and committing to that I'm going to do this and building that commitment and staying interested in it. It's like, having, even with your woman, right? You guys have been together for 7 years, 8 years. There's a point in time where you both lose attraction for each other and you have to get creative in the way that you relate. And, you get creative and same thing. I feel like the same kind of thing happens with your friends too. There's a certain time where you get bored of somebody, like you get bored of somebody. So you have to. Nice. Really? Okay. Awesome. You have to create a way where you can, get around that issue of, you know, getting bored. Getting bored of a task is actually it's one of the most it's a God-given thing. One, you find out how good you are, you find out how good you can be, you find out, you know, you find out much how actually interested you are. Like there's a real like a spiritual thing to it. It's like, you know, it's like being able to deal with your thoughts and be creative and fully commit and not back out and staying disciplined, but also staying creative, fun, and loving it and enjoying it. Like there's a true art. You're cultivating a character that you never that is new, that is building, right? And you're like really cultivating character in those moments. That's the best way I could describe it. And just building that consistency. Even some days it's so fucking boring. And like I was talking about in the last video, there's days when you don't feel like it. And everything in your head is just going like, I could be doing something else. This isn't making a difference. La 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 la. It's been a week. I haven't had a lead. All that crap, right? All that shit can happen all at the same time. And you got to put the noise aside. Put the noise aside. And when you do, you're able to really let it go. You're really able to cultivate esteem, creativity, and you cultivate a whole new person by doing that because you're giving up the rackets, you're giving up all your complaints, you're giving up all your stress, you're stepping into a new human being. You literally have to be a new human being if you want to do these tasks every single day. You have to cultivate something new. And if you don't, you burn out. And that's the thing, keeping the fire alive and relationships and your task and everything. There's come to a point in time where it's fucking boring and you hate it. And when you hate it, that's actually the time that is the best thing, is because that's when you're breaking through something. And then what happens is, they say that like there's a boring, and then there's like yes, and then there's back to like minuscule boring, and then there's yes. It's like first you're excited, then you're bored, then you break through, then you're excited again, then you're bored of it, then you break through. And there's a cycle in consistency and doing, staying consistent. And, don't believe what these people say when they're like, oh, you should love what you do. And so the best way I can describe that is like, you should love what you do, but you don't have to like what you do all the time, right? Like I can love my mom, but I don't like her all the time. I can love my girlfriend, but I don't like her all the time. And that's, just the thought of like, we have to be happy all the time or something's wrong. It's crazy. That isn't even fucking real. And so anyways, I just want to just kind of get that across. It's like that shit ain't real. And and that's it. It's not real. So and you don't want to start believing the narrative that like, what? You don't want to start believing the narrative that you don't want to start believing that narrative where you have to be happy all the time or there's something wrong if you're not happy. Like I know, like I've heard that there's cultures that they don't even really think about that kind of stuff. Like they're not like trying to be happy. Like that's so it's so narcissistic actually. I have to be happy. It's like, no, you don't. Like you don't. Who said that? Like who made that rule up? It's just a false expectation. It just doesn't happen. Your brain doesn't work that way. And like other cultures, like they focus on service all the time. And I feel like the Western culture, we're so focused on ourselves and we're like the highest in depression and all that bullshit. And that's what happens. And we've been raised to, go for the American dream and all that crap. And and it's, we just have false expectations, and those things they center around like consistency, like you with any, like you're gonna get bored. Whatever you stay consistent at, you build a great habit and you also build momentum. It could be building money, it could be building a great physique, it could be building a great speaking skills, whatever. But there's art and you start developing love for it. You have an overall love for it, but you don't like it some days, but you love it, right? Like you love the outcome and you also love the way it makes you feel too during the journey. And so I know I'm rambling a little bit, but I want to just talk about, with consistency, you build great skill and you build great character. And when you progress, that's when you're the happiest. So anyways, long story short, you need to start looking at like, where am I not being patient? Where am I not being coachable? Where am I not actually being the best version of myself? Am I just going through the habits? How can I cultivate something more while I'm doing these daily things? Where did I give up? Did I give up reading a book? Do I do that a lot? What would happen if what would happen if I finished the book? What would happen if I stuck to one career? What would happen if I stuck to one person? What would happen? Don't give up so fucking quick, man. Don't give up so quick. And you know, anyways, just be consistent, and you'll know over time if something is for you or not. And you'll tell by just your gut feeling. And anyways, long story short, stop giving up and just at least, if you're going to give up on something, at least be consistent enough to get the result you want, and get enough experience to know that, like, oh, this actually what I want to do, right? And like actually get to the point where it's like you fucking hate it, and get to that point, and then battle that for a while and keep battling that. I know this sounds crazy and like too much, but you just don't want to have that habit of not sticking with something long enough, because you don't want to be the shiny object syndrome person. Anyways, long story short, um, yeah, have a great day, and leave any comments on what we talked about. And if you are looking to rent your short-term rental, let me know. I'm going to be managing a lot of properties in these next 2 to 3 months, and yeah. So have a great day. We'll talk very soon.